This is Nathan Mintz. I'm a three-time entrepreneur, Epirus, Spartan, and now CX2. I started one of the first El Segundo-based defense startups back in 2018, Epirus. I've been in aerospace and defense for about 21 years. Started out at Boeing and Raytheon and then moved into startups. And I've got to see the full evolution from, kind of Dilbert companies to now disruptive innovation in the desert.
What's up, bro?
Just,
How's your hangover?
I'm surviving. I will say this is kind of novel. This is the first time I carried a cell phone into a skiff and I didn't have to report myself to security.
There you
but
go.
I guess it's offline at the moment, so
Yeah,
it's okay.
exactly.
Looks like there's no stickers on these screens. We're good.
I was asking him earlier if the Mitsubishi AC was NDA compliant, and he assured me it was.
Well, that's good to know.
There could be a bug in the machine, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, they got to go through and sniff for every possible emitter in here. It's part of what we do.
Speaking of emitters, yeah, look at that. Look at that segue. Good job, Nathan.
So this is Vaderus mounted on a Archer drone. So you can actually see that's Neros Archer, I think E, and that's our software-defined version of Vaderus right there. And that one can track just about any drone waveform right now, at least all the common ones. And then it's fully reprogrammable. So if somebody grows something new, which the Russians are prone to do in Ukraine
constantly,
we can just reprogram it to do that. But what that little box does is it puts an AOA angle, an angle of arrival, arrow for where the ground controller is, along with the ID, so you can check it against maybe the system that detected that there's a drone in the air in the first place.
Yep.
And the pilot can follow that plus the camera into where the ground controller is. So you can hunt the Archer, not the arrow. It's not just a clever hat.
Wow. That's good.
American Eagle.
I was about to say, isn't there some sort of Archer analogy you like to use? And you freaking nailed it.
Yeah, but the hat, our design team made these really cool hats. Kind of reminds me of like American Eagle or something like that.
Of course.
But I don't look nearly as good in their jeans as Sydney Sweeney does.
Yeah,
so I'm not even going to try.
I don't think they would let you anywhere near an ad campaign. Me neither, though.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're Mr. Mission Beach. What can I say?
Yeah, what can I say? Exactly. I did not wear pants to the defense event.
Well, you got to have a shtick. Everyone needs a shtick.
Everyone has a shtick. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about what you've been up to, and why this technology in particular is needed more than ever.
Well, so there's and this better than everyone. You founded a counter UAS company as well as I did. There's 350 counter UAS products on the market right now. Probably 70% of them are some form of jammer. Maybe 10% are like a collision drone or something. But very few of them actually go after the ground controller, not the drone, right? And if the guy's sitting there, pulling drones out of his backpack all day, launching them at you, doesn't do you a lot of good to just shoot them down one at a time. You got to find out where he is and take him out at the source. So this is a product that's designed to allow you to go on offense and actually provide counter battery fire to the UAS. So
tell us a little bit how you test this, right? And do you basically hide pilots?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So with Project GI DRM2 that we're on contract for right now, we're working with with SOCOM and the broader Army. I'm sort of being clumsy with I'm stating and making sure I can say everything
I get
that we're doing out loud. But yeah, so what we'll typically do is we'll give a guy a 10 or 15 minute head start. And he'll go and hide, and then we'll go have this thing launch, and it sort of sits in the air for maybe 15, 30 seconds and figures out where it's at and gets the arrow pointed. Then he'll start following the arrow to where he thinks the Archer is. And
Very
then, we've done this. It's amazing how easy it is to train people on it because the interface is so intuitive. And, we've added a couple things like you can clear emitters that, and you can whitelist your own controllers.
Sure.
Yeah. But, the idea is that, you can go, get eyeballs on target much more quickly. Whereas a traditional, if you were to scour systematically across an urban area, good luck finding where the pilot is, right? He's, sitting behind a wall or something like that. In fact, when we took it out to one of these, they have like these mountain towns at various bases that you use for training in urban environments. When we took it out there and we gave 7 pilots, they were Marine Corps pilots, a little bit of training, in less than 5 minutes, every single one of them was able to find the ground controller. So it works, and we're refining it. We have some orders we're taking now, and but it's a pretty exciting first product. I'll say that. And our team's done a phenomenal job with the marketing and just the pace of the engineering. So just to give you an idea, and it sort of speaks, we're here in disrupting in the desert, right?
Yeah.
And they talk about how they want to go faster. Well, this is kind of a success story where it's going faster. Where we first showcased this to SOCOM in like June, and then took it out and demoed it on a range to another customer in July. By September, we were out demoing it under Project GI, and then in October we were on contract, and then sometime early this year we're going to be delivering hundreds of units of this thing. So
great.
It's really going fast, and I think it's a great example of how the DoD, if you get rid of all the regulatory speed bumps, they can move fast because we have people that want to do things, want to make decisions. And I know General Kane was up on the stage, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and that was one of the points that he emphasized was just let's get the lawyers out of the way and get shit done. So this is a perfect example of this.
Talk to us a little bit, having done this now a couple times, right? What is when you get an early contract or get a couple early wins?
Yeah.
How does the private market look at that, and why are they then willing to put a ton of their own money into it? I guess the point I'm trying to make is how important are these early wins to de-risk from an investor standpoint?
Yeah, well, I mean, and I advise a couple of different VC firms and other startups. So this is, my third rodeo. They're looking for proof points, recognizing that the sales cycle is much longer, and that oftentimes people can get a lot of early revenue by doing, basically with empty calories, going after SBIRs or doing service contracts to other primes or whatever that aren't going to go anywhere, right? And those aren't the kind of companies that excite them. They want companies that have products that are sticky, that build IP moats, that have high margins and the ability to scale to venture scale, which means hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue, right? So I think when you start to show that you're hitting all the waypoints along that route, they're much more excited about it than just we have $6 million in SBIR revenue, and not clear how any of it kind of fits into a narrative of a larger kind of product thrust or something like that, right? So I think what's nice about this is it's showing that it's real customers that are getting out there, that there's huge uptake. As you're keenly aware, DoD's planning on buying, I think it's gone up now, 300,000 small UAS this year. And what's unique about what we have here is that aside from warheads, there hasn't really been a lot of thought into what sort of payloads you can put on these small FPVs. So this is an example of something that, I think it takes 2 minutes off the battery life for something from the extra weight. It's only maybe a pound and a half, and we're continuously lightweighting it. In fact, maybe we can put that through housing through an Excel and see it come out the other side.
And then also our FPV drone, we should be putting these on the bottom of them.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that showing that you have the narrative that says, okay, here's the it's like when you first get an idea on this and you process it like an entrepreneur, you talk about total available market, service addressable market, service operational market, and showing that you have greater and greater clarity on that. Because from a VC standpoint, they want to invest in something that's in a potentially large, fast-growing market where there's either stale competition or no competition whatsoever because it's a blue ocean, it's a new market, and they want to know that you have the team and the right product market fit to get there, right? And so, I mean, oftentimes when they come in, they're betting on a founder as much as they are on a product or anything like that. They kind of assume you're going to pivot. And sort of famously, the best example of this is that Slack started out as a video game company, right? And Butterfield, they built Slack as an internal messaging system there, and they said, "Hey, this is pretty cool," right? And I think there's probably some other examples of that. You probably have some examples of that in your own experience.
We Yeah, I mean, we talk about Slack all the time, like, and the need to, like, at least for us, we're building like what we call Firestorm OS because no one's really solved the integration layer for drones. So like, okay, let's build the middleware and the SDKs so that people can actually, integrate payloads at speed onto drones. You'd think that would exist, and it's not really out there. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I think that's an area where like generative AI and other things, you need an OpenClaw agent that can take 200 of these things and integrate it like with the push of a button. And we're working on some aspects of that. So I think like, the amount of productivity gain that we're going to get as we ingest, these new tools. I mean, Anthropic's got a booth here, et cetera. So they're certainly taking it seriously. Is something to watch out for. And it's really going to allow us to bend that cost curve without, needing to pay people Chinese wages or something like that.
Yeah, no, exactly. What do you, let's talk about counter UAS here for a couple minutes, right? In general. So you said there's 350 products on the market right now?
Yeah. So that was the last survey that I saw. I think it was 318. And then I'm adding some in there because new ones pop up all the time, right?
Sure. Yeah. What are you, besides your product? Okay. So you have to be nice here. What else are you excited about?
Well, I mean, obviously I'm biased towards Epirus, right? So that was the first company.
Leonidas.
Leonidas kind of presents a unique ability. I think the lasers are finally starting to get there in terms of the range.
Yep.
The rate of fire and some of the other factors is an open question, but at least the range is getting there.
Now,
and
if you're a laser guy, do you want to dazzle the camera or do you want to like knock the bird out?
You got to burn it out, and the reason is it's BDA, right? You got to understand that like you're taking it out, right?
Yep.
I think the detection side we're getting a lot better about it, but the adversary is also getting much more agile. If you look at what's happening in Ukraine, the Russians seem to change their frequency sets on a weekly basis, right? So we need to be prepared for that, and there needs to be a layer of machine learning. And I know you did some of that at Citadel.
Yeah.
And
I mean, the next layer Titan is like multiple SDRs going like wide, not just on like the normal off the shelf frequencies because of what you're talking about, right? I mean, it's a very tough battle now.
I mean, what's amazing though is that despite like all this stuff kind of happening at the bleeding edge, the uptake into the actual units is still way behind. I mean, I think they're still using like Aegon jammers and stuff like that. So, hopefully we'll get some more uptake there. So I think on that front, the Interceptor drones are interesting, but there's a cost challenge there.
Yep.
I think for Group 3, that's going to be a popular option. I mean, you're seeing Coyote and Roadrunner getting a lot of attention because of that, because they just don't want to launch a $2 million Pack 3 is $4 million, but they don't want to launch a $1 million rolling airframe missile at these things. So they need to start scaling those. I think the Ukrainians have started having like these rocket-sized interceptor drones that can go 200, 300 miles an hour, and that's interesting if they can get the price point down and get the reliability up there. But what's interesting about this is that all these systems, when we talk about like Homeland Defense, and the White House task force is putting like $1 billion towards counter UAS for FIFA World Cup, and then also for the Olympics. What's interesting about that is that if you think about it in like the context of defending a stadium, having the drone fall out of the sky when you don't know what it's going to land on is actually kind of bad. So like, kind of bringing it back to Vadris, you're better off to go find the pilot and ask him what the heck he's doing and apprehend the pilot, right? So, putting a system there where you can quickly find him before he gets in his car and drives away, I think is pretty effective there, especially when you couple it with sort of wider area surveillance systems, because you can't have these drones in the air all the time, right? So we've been doing a lot of work with like getting this queued from other systems. There's some of the other people we're working with are here today. We'll be rolling out some partnerships soon publicly.
Yeah, well, let's put one of these on our Firestorm stuff. I'll take you to the booth and show you some things I think this would go on quite well.
That'd be great.
All right, last question here. What are you reading right now? Audible books. Audible counts as well.
Well, I mean, I've been reading We've Never Been Woke by Musa Al-Garbi for, I think, 2 months. I just finished Bullshit Jobs.
Okay, I have not read
Graeber, that's a good book.
Okay.
And then it's on my list to start Ann Jacobson's new book about nuclear war.
Yeah.
So it's been a little hard. I mean, once the business gets to a certain size,
Don't have a lot of
your free time for
Yeah.
reading. Aside from I do try and at least get through the weekly Parsha, and I've got daily Tanyan podcast for my commute and stuff. I need to kind of get my my Jewish Zen on.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, so those are some interesting ones. Last year, I mean, I think I read the DARPA book from Ann Jacobson. That was History of DARPA. That one was pretty interesting, and kind of understanding that what we're going through right now is the same cycle that we've been through before with innovation. And I think that there's been a bit of a moonshot in the industrial base, or I'd say Sputnik moment is probably the better way to describe it, where we have woken up to the fact that America stopped building stuff.
Yeah.
And it's time to reindustrialize. And I think the gathering of people here today, and just the attention, the number of like undersecretaries of defense that are here, and General Kane and everything, is really showing that this administration and Congress has finally got serious about the problem and trying to throw money to solve it.
The lineup here compared to last year is like unbelievable. I mean, this is like they are absolutely taking this seriously now. And I think they know they need to, because as they've gone and audited kind of the DIB, I think they've been probably scared by what they see.
Yeah, and I will say, we're sitting here in the middle of his district. Congressman Calvert has been a champion about this for a long time.
Yeah,
and is not just helping to promote startups. He's also trying to whip a lot of the existing contractors into shape. So, kudos to him for doing that, and for Congresswoman McCollum, who's here as well. So.
Yeah, I mean, they've been carrying the water for years, even when it was like not a popular thing, and now defense is popular.
Yeah.
But like the last decade, I mean, especially like the creation of AppFit and getting DIUs budget, plussed up aggressively. These are things that like I think have really, really helped. So
yeah, for sure.
Shout out to the chairman.
Yeah. Thanks, Ken Calvert.
Yeah,
appreciate you throwing this together. So,
all right, buddy. Thanks for coming by.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Drone Wars podcast. If you liked what you heard today, please subscribe to catch all the latest insights for all things defense and geopolitics.